Is that an ice cream truck? Do those things even exist anymore? So later in the fall of this year, Apple is going to announce their brand new iPhone. Now expectations are super high for two primary reasons. Now the first reason is kind of obvious. I mean, let's face it, the iPhone 7 and the 7 Plus were supposed to be design overhauls, and they were not. Both phones are great, but they were incremental upgrades at best, and a lot of people were disappointed. So the second reason is because 2017 marks the 10-year anniversary of the iPhone, and the line of thinking goes that Apple intentionally skipped a cycle before announcing a brand new iPhone so they can align the new device with this landmark sort of anniversary. Plus, Apple knew that even if they made very minor modifications like turning the iPhone black, people would still buy a crap ton of them even though it's very similar to the 6S. Now earlier this year, Samsung dropped their Galaxy S8 flagship phone, and it's generally regarded as the best smartphone in the market right now, and for good reason. The phone is absolutely gorgeous and has very little compromises, a very strong showing from Samsung coming off of the Note 7 debacle that it had to deal with not long ago. Now with the Galaxy S8 at the forefront with all its success, there is a lot of eyes on Apple to see how it's going to respond to such a fantastic phone. Now there are a lot of people who legitimately feel that this is the make or break it moment for the iPhone as the competition within the space gets more intense by the day. So it's easy to understand why there's a heightened sense of hype behind the new iPhone 8. I mean iPhone X, or the iPhone edition, whatever the you want to call it. Now because of all this hype, iPhone 8 rumors and leaks are all over the place. I mean, there's so many of them now, it's really hard to differentiate what's realistic and what's total crap. Now, I seriously wouldn't waste your time with an iPhone 8 rumors and leaks video, but this one's different. So the rumors that I'm gonna be talking about come from this guy. Now, if you don't know who this person is, his name is Ming-Chi Kuo. This guy is known as the Nostradamus of Apple predictions. He's been making predictions on Apple products for many years now, and history has shown that his predictions are extremely accurate, so when he talks, people listen. Now, he recently did an interview where he went over 10 predictions for the new iPhone 8. Now, I'm not gonna go over all of them, but I do wanna go over some that I found really interesting. So the first prediction is a pretty general and basic one, and that's that Apple is going to announce 3 different iPhones come the fall. Now, this makes a lot of sense because Apple will most likely introduce the iPhone 7s and the iPhone 7s Plus, the incremental upgrades to the current iPhone that they have right now. I wouldn't expect a lot of design changes for those phones. Probably still gonna have LCD displays, probably still gonna have an aluminum body. They're probably gonna have a faster chip and maybe a little bit more RAM, but I wouldn't expect anything different in terms of the display size or anything like that. So pretty standard stuff when Apple does incremental upgrades to their devices. Now the phone that everyone is talking about is the third iPhone, the iPhone 8, which rumors suggest will have a completely new design, look and feel. It's apparently finally gonna have an OLED display, which is really exciting. It's said that the body is made out of glass so it can support wireless charging, and it's apparently going to have a much larger display. Now that actually brings me to Ming's second prediction. He predicts that the iPhone 8 will have the largest screen to body ratio ever put in a smartphone. Now this is actually really exciting because that prediction aligns with some of the leaked mock-ups that have been shared on social media, showing a beautiful display that virtually covers the entire front of the phone. Now this is huge because Apple has been notorious for putting the chunkiest bezels, the biggest chin, the biggest forehead on all their devices. So to see an iPhone that's basically all display in the front is very exciting for Apple fans. So when you look at the top of the phone, you're gonna notice a front-facing camera and what Ming says are biometric sensors for 3D facial recognition. And that actually leads me to my third and last prediction I want to talk about. Now, if Apple really does go with the screen to body ratio, the question is, where do they put the home button? So the rumor is that Apple put the home button inside the display itself, so it's gonna act as a touch capacitive, kind of a force touch sort of home button that will still act the same way that a home button does. Now I think that's great, and I know that technology exists because the Samsung Galaxy S8 has their home button embedded within their display as well. But then that drives another question of what they're gonna do with Touch ID. That was rumored to be that they would put Touch ID in the display as well, so there's this seamless transition of the home button into the display, and everyone would be able to use it quite easily. However, in his interview, Ming predicted that the iPhone 8 will not have Touch ID at all. Now this isn't so hard to believe because everyone thought that the Galaxy S8 would also have a fingerprint reader inside the display, but we all know now that that never happened. It seems as though putting a fingerprint reader in a display is a lot harder than expected, and Samsung couldn't get the technology to where it needed to be, hence why it decided to put that fingerprint reader in that god-awful location on the back of the phone. Now in Ming's prediction, he's saying that Apple is also facing these challenges with the Touch ID sensor within the display, And rather than trying to put some weird fingerprint sensor somewhere else, they're going to rely on other biometric sensors like the 3D facial recognition that I mentioned earlier as the way to unlock the phone moving forward. Now, using other biometrics to unlock your phone already exists in the Samsung Galaxy S line. There's the iris scanning and the face detection to unlock the phone, but they've both been bypassed by either images or pictures, so there are questions to how safe this biometric security is. Now, knowing Apple and looking at that notch and looking at all those sensors, it's likely that the 3D facial recognition that Apple has is going to work very well. It's apparently going to be very fast, faster than Touch ID now, but there's a lot of questions that come with having this as the only way to unlock your iPhone. Like, how is the iPhone going to know that I want to unlock it if the phone's already asleep? What if I don't want to unlock it but I accidentally look at the phone? What happens then? Touch ID to me is definitely one of my favorite features on my current iPhone. There's something really satisfying about putting my finger on the home button, getting that haptic feedback, and knowing for sure that my phone is open. Probably the best part is that I can do it while I'm taking the phone out of my pocket, so by the time I have it up to my face, it's already unlocked. Now, I know at the end of the day, people are just going to say, hey, why can't you just hold the phone up to your face, look at it, and unlock? Probably take maybe just a little bit longer, but we're talking milliseconds here. Is it really that big of a deal? But I'm curious, and I wouldn't be surprised if most people that have the Galaxy S8, they probably still use their fingerprint scanner the most to unlock their phone, rather than relying on the iris detection or the face detection. But remember, this is JSL Review. It's not just about tech reviews, it's a platform for a discussion. Do you think if this prediction is true, that Apple is no longer going to have Touch ID, do you think that this is going to impact the popularity of the iPhone 8? Do you think that this 3D facial recognition or any other biometric security system has the potential to really replace fingerprint scanning as the primary way of unlocking phones? Or do you think Apple's gonna pull a Samsung and put a fingerprint reader on the back of the phone last minute? Let me know. That's about it for this video. Leave me a thumbs up if you liked it. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button and to turn on notifications so you can stay up to date with all my other videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. We'll be right back.